Um, at any rate, what I was just discussing was how I found myself in a situation where recurring homelessness seems to be a problem. Um, Once again, let me reiterate, I don't have any illicit drug use problems or habits. CBD and the energy drink is as hard as a 10 go. Um, However, um, what I figured out over the past 4 or 5 years is that I've been in and out of a courtroom in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, a few times over this home. Um, and considering I have a housing voucher from HUD or Housing Authority of Winston-Salem, I don't really understand what happened this time. A few years ago, the same situation happened because the realty company that had purchased my home had sold it to another realty company that turned around and sold it to another realty company. And, just it was something with the paperwork. Um, so once that problem was resolved, um, it happened again. And when I went and I spoke with my worker about it, she gave me a new voucher, and I was unable to find any housing within the Winston-Salem area that would accept my voucher. So we were able to find a solution or a resolution with that property management company that had purchased the home at that time. And then we went through it again. Okay, so the tax value on my home is so low that they sell those type of homes in parcels, and usually when they purchase the homes, they look something like what's behind me, and they fix it up just enough to rent them out to Section 8 or rent them out to anybody. Honestly, rent them out to Section 8 or immigrants here in the Winston-Salem area. Very seldom do we ever find middle class or middle class families living in these type of homes. Usually it's single mamas like me. Okay, so I know that the tax value on the property or the tax value on the home that I was living in for the past 10 years is probably around $10,000. The roof is caving in. As a matter of fact, I kind of feel as if the property management company and I guess housing authority were probably at a standstill over this home because I could not find another home to move into with a voucher, and they could not find anybody else to rent that home because the roof is sagging and they don't want to invest the money into fixing the roof because the house is over 100 years old. It was built in 1919. Okay, it's not this particular home. It's one around the corner, just right around the corner. So, because houses like this are bought in parcels, not specifically single parcels, but packages. That's how they have been selling homes down here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Okay. I found this out a while back when I had asked about purchasing the home that I was living in, because at that time I had a full-time job, so I was trying to purchase the home that I was living in. I had gotten my credit score up to a 730. I had gotten my debt down to zero. I even cut my credit cards. And then all of a sudden, March 20th or March 21st of 2020, I found myself jobless. And that was right around the time that coronavirus hit. That was it. But however, I say this because I asked someone about that particular home I was living in, and they told me they had bought it as part of a package. Okay, it was several homes that were sold to them, or they had bought several homes like this behind me. Okay, at a discount rate. And I was wondering, how were they able to do that? Because they looked like regular old people, you know? So the issue becomes, how did so many people from a specific realty company here in Winston-Salem, but not even a main realty company, but a little side hustle sketchy realty company, find themselves owning so many different properties? And then all of a sudden their tenants were issued letters in mass. Okay? And it was strange because when I went to court, okay, I paid them whatever that amount was that they had been demanding. And this was a couple years ago. But, I thought that was the end of the situation. And then the situation happened where the property management company sold the house again. Okay. And I was sitting back waiting to find out who owned the house. Just waiting, because I had heard of local area scams where people were fixing up abandoned homes, kind of like this one back here, and they were renting them out without deeds or without having any paperwork. So, a few days ago, a couple guys, I'm not going to say, a few weeks back now, honestly, a few guys showed up at my home, and it was about 7 o'clock in the morning, and they were banging, banging, banging on the door. And they said, "Ma'am, if you don't come out, we're going to drill the lock." And they looked like they were dressed as officers, but there were no marked vehicles outside. None. Not one. There were absolutely no marked vehicles. The man told me I had to leave. He said he was waving around paperwork, but he would not give me a copy of the paperwork. And the saddest part about the situation is that the paperwork I did see walked through my door in someone else's hands. And I know it was printed off their printer from their office. The saddest thing about that is a few weeks later, I observed the same thing happening to their office. Someone pulled up in a convertible Saab that was green with peeling paint. And we know Saab hasn't made any new vehicles. And nobody officially from the county drives a Saab with peeling paint. And yeah, it didn't look official. And they stuck papers. I see them stick papers to their person's office. The same way they walked through my door with papers. And I said to myself, this is the saddest shit I have ever seen in my life. People in Winston-Salem. I digress. But at any rate, that's the backstory as to why Salem Camps, or why I'm coming up with this video series called Salem Camps. Because, like I said, I'm sober. I'm healthy. I'm a naturalist. If anything, I'm a recreational nudist from time to time. I don't do anything harder than puff this CBD or drink an energy drink. Why am I homeless? And To be honest about it, I'm an optimist. I'm not really homeless. Do you see this? I'm not really homeless. Y'all have a great night.